Hey everyone, so welcome back to Navajo Tea Time. This is Kelsey's vlog on her gardening. Me, Kelsey, hi. So the first step I like to do for my gardening is kind of like plan it all out. I do like a quick sketch of the area I have, and then I go through the seeds that I have saved or my mom's bought.
Watermelon!
You want to plant watermelons?
Yeah.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watermelon.
And as you can see, I like to plan it all out.
Yeah.
And it kind of took 4 months to finally plant the watermelon because they didn't really survive transplant. But you'll see that later on. So I like to plan out where I'm putting, what seeds I want to plant. And then so I look and see how many I need to plant in case I need to go and buy some. And then I do the starters, which you'll see later on. So I guess related to gardening is we were taking care of a couple of lambs, and Gilligan and Skipper. Yeah, we were kind of hesitant of we didn't know how to take care of lambs, so we did a lot of research in the milk and then the pen and how to keep them alive, and that's why there's straw in there to help keep them warm. We didn't keep them there when it was raining and snowing. We had them closer to the house in a more enclosed area, but they were getting bigger and needed more space. Yeah, it was fun having them around. We really liked them and enjoyed them. We kind of liked them better than puppies. And this is us prepping for the morning to do the starters. I believe this was in March, the middle of March, because my niece was visiting because she just started spring break. Yeah, the little guys, we let them run around outside. They're really affectionate. When you call to them, they come to you. And so this was the first time we ever took care of lambs, and it was a really nice experience. Maybe we'll do it next year, but be a little bit more prepared because they were actually killed.
Hey, don't go over there!
Yeah, they were killed by wild animals, and I think this is some of the last footage we have of the lambs before they were attacked. So as you can see, I'm referencing my plant guide and what I wanted to plant and counting all the areas out for the starter. Frankie's Head Start actually gave us those little starter things, and they were brick hard because they're from last year, and so we're trying to soften them up. And I had some corn. You'll see if you've followed me on Instagram or whatever, you see all the corn that I have. Yeah, so we just get the mixing stuff, and I like to start them. The peas didn't grow at all, which was kind of sad because I was trying to think of different types of vegetables that Frankie would actually eat to plant. That's the basil from last year. I tried planting those seeds again. They didn't really turn into anything, but just trying to use the seeds we get from the plants we have, so I don't have to keep buying more plants. Be self-sustaining and stuff.
She wants to plant watermelon.
So that's the prep process I do for my garden, is doing the seedlings and everything. And then, you just put them inside the house in a nice sunny area, or if you have a greenhouse, good for you. Yeah, and then we were trying to reuse some of the plastic stuff we get. That was a cupcake tin, and if you close it, it keeps it nice and moist and humidified. Yeah, that's a shot of the Green Mountain out that way towards my home site lease spot. And then we can see the sprouts of the plants coming up. It's always exciting to see them start popping up after they've been germinating for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. Sadly, none of the sunflower seeds that we sunflowers that we planted survived transplant, but almost all the corn did. And then here's our tree starting to bloom again. And then I think this was late March, and the roses started to bud, so I started to water them again, because I kind of don't water them in the winter. Yeah, so spring has sprung and things are coming back to life. Quick scope of like the community work I had to do, and then this was also the day my grandma went into surgery. And then I kind of snuck off to Phoenix for a weekend. Frankie calls it our holiday, to see the Hopi R2-D2, which was pretty cool. And then Kelsey and Mona geek out, wax seal stamp, and then Easter. And then it was kind of sad because my grandma was still in the hospital, and that was like really heavy on my mind for the past couple of months. Since March, she was in the hospital. And those are my Nellies, and we play, you know, Easter games. And then the wind, and then the fire north of Flagstaff happened. And so I had to go see my grandma, but I had to go all the way around to visit her. And then still trying to, like, I think gardening was a nice constant at this time. Just because watching things grow, taking care of little plants and keeping them alive just gave me something else to focus on when my grandma was in the hospital that entire time. And like I said, like all our corn surprisingly survived transplant. We have so many lizards around our house, which I'm fine with because they eat all the bugs. And then also on top of my grandma being in the hospital, I had like this big film project I was trying to finish. And then our shearing that we do every year. I think I talk about it a couple of times on Navajo Tea Time. And then those are some of the corn that we planted straight into the ground without the starters. And then I'm so glad my mint, my creeping thyme, my lavender, and my tarragon root, they all came back to life. I wasn't sure if they would because, you know, they die during winter. And I'm like, are you guys going to come back to life or not? And I'm glad I kept watering them and kept, you know, taking care of the area so they did come back to life. And I bought some more drought-tolerant flowers, mainly just flowers and herbs to put closer to the house, not so much of the vegetables. And then finally, after 3 months, my grandma came home, but we had to get some water for her, so we had to haul water. And then just for evening activities, we went and found some rocks. And this is our corn. Like a week ago. And so with roses and flowers, you get like these little aphids inside around, and they build up this waxy barrier to protect themselves from the elements and other animals. And so to get those bugs off before you put them in the house, I like to rinse them with like a little drop of dish soap and a thing of water, and I just kind of rinse all the bugs off of them. So when we bring them inside the house, they're not covered with bugs. And then just harvesting the herbs. Because last year I didn't harvest as much as I should have. And they just grew out of control. And then these are my pollinators. But they kind of look like some of the weeds that go around the area. And my mom, when she came home to help take care of my grandma after she got out of the hospital, was like, oh, I'm going to pull your weeds. I was like, don't touch it. Yeah, so this is like the latest, June 9th, which is like the day before this video goes live. And those are just my gardening vlog of the things I'm planting. Hopefully my corn produces corn cobs, ears, or whatever, because I get to the point where I can plant it and it grows, but then getting the fruit from like corn and some other vegetables is really difficult for me. I'm really good at squash and pumpkins, and then I'm replanting the sunflower seeds because they didn't survive transplant. And you can see my roses, they exploded, and then my lavender came back to life, which I was super happy about. So yeah, I think a lot of my gardening tips come from this one YouTube channel. I'll link it below. I can't remember the exact name. I think it's like the Epic Gardener. So I watched a lot of his videos, and it had a lot of helpful tips on like planting. And he talks about different climates and areas and zones, not just where he lives. So it's really helpful. yeah, so thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, comment below on what you planted, if you planted, how is it going and everything. Yeah, I'll go on it.